My name is Garrison Gilbert. We are Multifamily Masters. My two business partners and myself do this once a month. Free content, a lot of content, all about spreading the realness of multifamily real estate. And when I say multifamily real estate, I use that term kind of generally. Anything cash flowing wise, self-storage, apartment buildings, mobile homes, etc. We are multifamilymasters.com. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Mr. Pao Chi is from Los Angeles, and Mr. Ferris Musa from Houston. I've been doing this real estate thing full time for about 21 years. Pao owns a couple thousand self-storage units. Ferris just closed on a 500 plus unit apartment building, has another 400 units under contract right now. We created multifamilymasters.com because our goal is to create the world's largest cash flowing platform, and we're well on our way. We have 50 plus meetups across the globe. We have the biggest, the baddest, the best multifamily mastermind around. If you are looking to really learn this business and surround yourself with like-minded people and really have people that know this business inside and out, looking over your shoulder, holding you accountable, and really digging down deep into the weeds of this business, because we want you closing deals, because plain and simple, we want to partner with you. That's what we're all about. We are throwing a multifamily conference coming up in Orlando, November 13th and 14th. If you did not get tickets, get them now before the prices go up. It's going to be our first conference. It's going to be a good conference. We're going to keep it kind of small for the first one because of COVID and because it's the first one. And we want to kind of create that family feel. That was our goal when we originally created Multifamily Masters. If you're interested in the mastermind or the conference, feel free to reach out to me, Gigi at multifamilymasters.com. That's Garrison Gilbert, Gigi at multifamilymasters.com. If you want to check out our conference, multifamilycon, CON.com, multifamilycon.com, November 13th and 14th. My name's Garrison Gilbert. Let's rock and roll. Go ahead, pal.
Okay, I'm just putting that multifamilycon.com into our chat here. So great. My name is Powell Chi. I am one of the founders here. Multifamily Masters started this group about 4 years ago in a small 8-person meetup in the hotel lobby in LA, right? And since then, it has grown significantly. Like Garrison mentioned, we started with just a couple chapters. Grew it out from California, all the West Coast, then blew it up over on the East Coast as well, filled out a lot of the states in between. I myself have been investing in real estate for, I guess 5 years now, and bought my first multifamily property 4 years ago. Yep, 4 years ago. Since then, been involved in another multifamily property. These are both in Indianapolis. And then I got involved in 5 different syndications on the GP side of all of them. They're in all over the place. So I myself, living in Los Angeles, I invest all outside of the state of California. All my investments are out of the state. So they're in Dallas, San Antonio, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Phoenix. So a number of different markets. And then I've also invested in some self-storage facilities as well. As Garrison mentioned, I have I'm close to 1,300 units in terms of self-storage, which is a different sort of category and everything. But and that all said, super happy to be here. Super happy to have our guest speaker today, Perry, speak as well. And I didn't see Ferris's video come on. I'm not sure if Ferris.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
No video,
right.
But I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So that's mine.
All right.
Ferris, I'll pass it to you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ferris and Garrison Powell. And I apologize, guys. I'm traveling. So for me, myself, Ferris Moose, I have a company called Disrupt Equity. We are a vertically integrated kind of real estate acquisitions and management company. We do have our own management company, which also does third-party management. Primarily, we buy and acquire assets throughout Texas and Georgia. And with that said, I'm going to keep it brief. So, obviously, Multifamily Master is something exciting. It's been fun to see this grow. And, all the people that we meet across the way, right? We do like to say networking is key to apartments and kind of multifamily in general. And so it's we're big proponents of it. And so with that said, I think for today's presentation, typically we'll do the presentation for about 30 minutes or so, do about 10, 15 minutes Q&A, and then we'll kind of kick it off into what we call breakout rooms. Breakout rooms is all about networking and getting to meet other people that you may know, right? We'll break it up into smaller groups, and basically whenever you get into a smaller settings, you can get a chance to have a conversation with people and get to know them, right? Ask questions, meet them, and that's how partnerships happen. I met my partner actually at a meetup that he was running 5 years ago. So, this stuff is real. So with that said, Pal, I'll give it back to you and look forward to kind of today's presentation.
Hey, real quick before we get started, anyone on here, feel free to hop in the chat below. Type in where you're from. It's hard to you'll have trouble believing kind of the people that will be in your home market and the networking opportunities you're going to catch on here. And then we're going to hop out into breakout rooms here in a little bit. And if you find value in this, if you like these live presentations, we really go all out on these things. Feel free to share it on your social media. And if you're watching this right now on social media and you're not hopped into this Zoom, you're going to miss kind of part of it, a big part of it, which is the networking. So hit that link in the comments below if you're watching this on social media. Make sure you're registered for next month. One registration will hit us for every month. We do this once a month. The information is impeccable. So let's rock and roll and take it away, pal.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so great. Today we have a special guest. And today we're going to talk about something that we haven't really talked about. We haven't really touched this subject. And this is for what I like to think of like investors as you're trying to take yourself to the next level. These are the types of things, the questions that you're going to have, the kind of situations that you're going to have, and potentially the problems that you have, maybe the solutions that you're going to have. And this is not necessarily, I don't know Perry's presentation, but I'm going to suggest that it's probably not for the first time investor, right? It's probably more for the investors who are a little bit more advanced and have a little bit more of a track record. But this is what everybody's aspiring to, and these are the kind of things that you want to be well aware of as you start to grow your portfolio. So Perry, why don't we, we're going to have you give a presentation. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a bio before you go ahead and jump in and share your screen if you'd like, and go ahead and give your presentation. And then we'll go for about, like we said, 30, 35 minutes. And then we'll pause for some Q&A. At any time, if you do have any questions, we'd love for you to type them in the chat. Just type them in the chat, and then we'll try to go back through, and Garrison and I and Ferris will read through some of the questions for Perry. All right. So go ahead, Perry, if you want to give us your bio and then go ahead and jump into your presentation, that'd be awesome.
Cool. I'll just start my presentation, and the first slide is my introduction. So yeah, hi, my name is Perry Zhang. Good to see everyone there. It's really interesting you mentioned about the triangle. I went to college at Duke, so Durham is a very close hometown to me. So, and thanks for this opportunity to speak here. So I'm the founder and CEO of Cash Flow Portal. I was previously an engineering manager at Lyft for more than 5.5 years. And then before that, I was a software engineer at Twitter and Amazon. I started off with single families, bought my first single family in San Francisco about 6 years ago. And since then, I bought 7 single families in San Francisco and Seattle. I'm also an operator/sponsor in 840 apartment units across 3 syndications. And I passively invest in about 2,000 units at this point. And I'm super frugal. I still live with 4 housemates in Seattle. Things I like are credit card churning. I have a bunch of credit cards, and I also enjoy playing poker. So that's my intro. And by the way, this webinar is going to be super interactive. So I do see the chat here. If you have questions, just type your questions into the chat. I'll try to make it interactive. Okay. So there are 3 topics that I want to go over. Is what kind of software do you need if you're just starting out? And then second is what kind of software do you need once you have your letter of intent or your first deal? Okay. And the third one is just in general, how do you approach investors as a upcoming sponsor or as an experienced sponsor? We may not have time to get into the last point, but we'll talk about the first two. Okay. Paul, do you have any questions before we kind of jump into the meat of the presentation?
I don't have any questions except for that maybe I misguided everybody. And if you're going to talk about how to get started and everything, then maybe I sort of jumped the gun and did a false start right there. But yeah, take it away, Perry. This is your presentation.
Yeah, I hope that's a pleasant surprise to everyone. So what you need when you get started is you need a CRM from as far as software is concerned. Now, technically, if you really want, a spreadsheet could be a CRM, right? When I started off, I had a spreadsheet. It wasn't until my first deal that I signed up with MailChimp, okay? And so let's go over 3 main softwares for CRM. And those, in my opinion, are the kind of the top of the market, the most popular CRMs. The pros of having, by the way, what is a CRM? A CRM is a way for you, it's a database with your context. It stands for Context Relationship Management. Okay, it's a way to organize what you know about people, how many times you've met, anything you want to remember about them. And it also has these workflows for you to keep up with them or keep track of how much they might be invest in your future deal. Okay. The goal of a CRM is to be organized. So you know approximately how much money you can raise. Right. A lot of times as a first-time sponsor, if I ask you how much you can raise, if you want to be a co-sponsor on my team, that's the first question I ask you. What's your liquidity? What is your net worth? And how much approximately you can raise? Without a CRM or without putting down those contexts on a spreadsheet, it's really hard to answer that question. And so that's why the CRM comes in. Okay. Now, when you talk about MailChimp, the pro of MailChimp is it's really good at sending out emails. It's very intuitive to use. It was also just acquired for $12 billion. So it's a very legitimate company. The cons of MailChimp is it has so-so delivery rate. What that means is sometimes if you send it through MailChimp, it could go into someone else's spam, right? But there are ways to avoid that. And you cannot send individual emails. Unfortunately, you have to create a campaign in MailChimp. And there's no notes taking in MailChimp, which is very helpful. And by the way, I will do a really quick demo right after this slide so you can see kind of what's the workflow. Okay. HubSpot. The pro of HubSpot is it's all in one. You can take notes of individuals. You can send individual emails, and you can also send mass emails. But the con of HubSpot is lists are, they have this concept of lists instead of tags, and they're kind of not very intuitive in my opinion. Okay. I started off using MailChimp and then I discovered HubSpot. And so now I'm kind of stuck on MailChimp. It's really hard to move everything over because getting everything set up is quite difficult. Lastly, there is ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign, they boast that they have a high delivery rate. So they have 99% delivery rate. And ActiveCampaign is very good for automation. So if you want to say that they sign up on your website and you want to follow up with them 3 weeks later or 3 days later, and then another email a week later, they have all these triggers and it's very intuitive to set up. Now, it doesn't mean that the other two softwares don't offer that. It just means that ActiveCampaign really focuses on that part of the system. ActiveCampaign also has a cool story. It was bootstrapped as a company, and then 10 years later, they raised their first round of funding and is worth quite a bit of money. I did not end up choosing ActiveCampaign because it could not send out individual emails. And I don't really need the automation because I only need to send out a mass email when I have a real estate project. So it's not that helpful for me, okay? Now, HubSpot is actually a really good company. So if I have one recommendation is sign up with HubSpot. It does have everything that you need. And the free version could allow up to almost 2,000 contacts. So basically you'll be using it for free for a long time before you even pay a dime, okay? Now, let me show you what I have. So I still have MailChimp, unfortunately, and I also have HubSpot. And because I have two systems already, and I'm actually using another software called PySync that syncs between my HubSpot and my MailChimp. So I'm sharing my screen, everyone can see it. If this has a tag of this thing, it will be propagated to MailChimp the other way, and then vice versa. It gets really complicated, right? So that's why I recommend people, if you have HubSpot, start with HubSpot. I'll give you a quick tutorial of HubSpot. So this is my HubSpot account. This is, I own a company, so I'm not showing any investors here. These are just prospective candidates. So that's okay. They all went to CMU and MIT. And so I can click into one of them. So for example, I click into one of them, and suppose I end up talking to them over that day, I can create a note, and I can just type some notes here. MailChimp doesn't have that, okay? If I want to create a follow-up, I can do that. If I want to send an email, I can also send an email. HubSpot allows you to send individual emails, and it has a pixel that allows you to track if someone opened up the email. That is really important if you try to reach your investors and just know if they open up the email. And you can customize this individual email the heck you want. So that's why HubSpot is probably the best out there, okay? Okay, I will pause here for any questions so far. Is this helpful? Is this what you expected? Are people using another software, or are they using HubSpot already?
This is good, Perry. General question. What is your thoughts on Infusionsoft/Cape?
I heard of Cape, and I have heard of Infusionsoft. To my opinion, they are good companies, and HubSpot, in my opinion, is probably the best engineering company. I really do research on the background of the company, and HubSpot, according to Glassdoor, is the #1 rated company by employee satisfaction, the people who actually work there, among all the small business and big companies. So that speaks a lot. That kind of joy in execution carries over into how they handle their software. Yeah. So if you are using them already and you find value out of them, I do recommend stick with them. Like, there's not much you want to switch. And it's a full-time job to find out all the pros and cons of different softwares. And because I'm in software, that's why I know these things. But most people don't really care, right? If you like one, just stick with one. There was a question about which one of those 3 softwares are free. Are they all paid? They are all paid, and they are all free, okay? All of them have a freemium version. For example, HubSpot allows you to use up to, say, 2,000 contacts for free. MailChimp probably has a 30-day trial, so you can play with each one of them. Yeah, cool. All right, moving on to the next slide. So here's why I recommend if you are a new sponsor, right? A new sponsor actually has a lot of jobs, right? It needs to worry about how to find a deal. It needs to worry about how to raise money. It needs to know how much money you can reasonably raise. So by using the software, or even if you have a spreadsheet, type in everyone you know, like every person in your life that you reasonably know that has high net worth, okay? Put a column for how much you think you can raise from them, right? Don't ask them any question yet, but say you put on John Smith and I can reasonably raise, say, $25,000 from them. That is your expected value. And it's better to keep track of that expected value than not just like putting those numbers in your head, all right? Okay, so if you're starting out, you do want to create a website. You don't have to. There are very successful syndicators that don't even have a website, and that's fine, right? It's a very relationship business. That means you do need your own domain, right? So if your logo, your company.com, you could use Casual Portal as a lead magnet. I will show you in a second. We have a LinkedIn-like biography page that allows you to put your entire track record and resume on Cash Flow Portal. And that is an amazing tool for upcoming sponsors to use, okay? And then finally, you do need a Google Suite. Google Suite is used to create your own email domain. You can use Outlook, you can use GoDaddy, doesn't matter, but something along those lines so that people can email you as a john@xcompany.com instead of at gmail.com. All right. Now, true story. I syndicated 4 deals, 4 properties, 3 deals at this point, at 850 plus units. I still use a Gmail account. So you don't need your own domain, just to be clear, okay? Whether you are a successful sponsor really depends on how the deal does and your prior connections than whether you have your company domain, okay? Right, let me show you a
Hey,
couple.
Terry, real quick
Yeah.
on that, just a question so that they know. Are you saying they have your own website for the property, like an individual deal, or are you saying a website for themselves, like their own business?
Good question. A website for themselves, which has a track record of all the properties you either passively invested in, or maybe you have done 1 or 2 deals that showcase that property.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Good.
Right. Let me show you an example of a sponsor that has their own website. So this is Ivan, who's also actually on this call. He's just looking for his first deal, and then you can see some photos about him, some about page, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's a beginner's sponsor page. Here is someone that has a ton of deals. Okay, cool. So Nick has 2,000 plus units, 50 million portfolio value, 1,200 unique investors. That's a small thing about him. These are all the deals that he sponsored. They are closed in September 2021, September 2021, August 2019, December, and then you can scroll down for more information if you want to. These are all the passive deals that he did. That's Avalon Apartments, Class C, and so on. So you can also easily create these in Cashflow Portal. Now, this part of the website actually doesn't generate us any money. It's just a cool thing that we do for all our customers, and they are free. You can just register, sign up. This is all really cool. And to me, it allows the new sponsor to find value out of the platform, right? Okay. I'll pause here and have other people ask questions.
Hello. So the listing that we see here, this come from the software?
Yes, the listing come from the software. They can upload a photo. They can talk about what's the road there, how many units, what's the cost of the property. And then when you click on it, it will show the projected returns as well as actual returns if they want to put that information, which is actually really, really powerful. At the top here, you can see that this is their current market, and these are the markets they invested in. They are interested in multifamily and maybe Airbnb as well. And then we are adding features every day. So they will add also what they're looking for. Are they looking for co-sponsors? They're looking for investors, or they're looking for KPs, right? So I have this dream of creating the IMDb of real estate syndication. And that is the first step towards creating a biography page.
Thanks. Follow-up question. Do you have like an API so that I can encapsulate in this whole thing within my own website?
Yeah, so you could do that, and you just do an iframe, and that's it. Yeah, so you don't need an API, but you can put it on your own website if you want to. And a lot of people do that, which goes back to this point, which is that you could have your own website, and Cashflow Portal is just an additional lead magnet generation.
And that's no cost.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Now moving on. So what is the marketing flow? The marketing flow is you can create your own website, but it's optional. You can also use Cashflow Portal as a lead magnet, but that's also optional, right? Honestly, the most important thing you could do is just find a deal first, right? And then you can export those contacts to HubSpot/MailChimp, okay? And then finally, someone asked a great question. What do you think of investor management software like Juniper Square or Groundbreaker? We are primarily a investment software. So you will also use Cashflow Portal when you have a deal for investor management. And that's actually the bulk of our business 100% of our revenue right now come from a investor management software. The biography thing that I show you is just a feature. It's actually not the complete product. Okay. All right. I'll pause here again. Any questions? All right. Cool.
Hey, Perry, I just got a question. I'll ask it later, actually. It's all right. Go ahead.
Sure. Let me talk about why real estate syndication software in general. Okay. So what is a real estate syndication software? So Gaurav actually asked a really good question. The purpose is to unlock more investors, right? So if you have a deal, your investor should be notified automatically in addition to your HubSpot email. It automates equity raising. So you can do all the signatures and document signing directly on the portal. It allows you to sign paperwork. It is also a centralized investor portal that your investors can log in and look at, have a source of truth for all their real estate investing opportunities. And it allows you to distribute your distributions through ACH directly from the portal. Now, why a real estate syndication software? Number one, it helps you save time, right? There are a lot of paperwork between now and closing. It helps you to connect with more investors, okay? It does make you come across as professional and modern by having a software that your investors can directly go to instead of signing pen and paper, okay? And finally, we as real estate investors get into real estate investing because we want to achieve financial freedom. But financial freedom also means time freedom. If you're spending most of your time answering investors' questions and doing paperwork, you haven't truly achieved financial freedom. Okay. Now, I'll give you a demo of our investor software. Okay. So now I am here. This is what you see. I am logged in as a sponsor. Okay. Cool. All right. Now click into a deal. Okay. I can go to the offering page and click into the offering that I'm making. I can set the minimum investment, the offering size, the type of investment. You can embed a YouTube or Vimeo link as well. Go to key metrics. I can set my cash and cash return for every year. Okay. Go to the summary page. I can add paragraphs and paragraph of information. Some really good questions. I will answer them, right? Cool. And then assets, you can upload images, and you can add multiple images if you want. The offering documents, you can upload your resume as well as your offering deck. E-sign templates, this allows you to upload your legal documents and put signature fields on them. Here's one example in which we are a lot better than our competitors. So let me delete one of them, say LLC. I can click on create document. Let me go ahead and drop a document here. I'll put a document here. We have this amazing ability for you to choose all the fields from an existing template and just paste that into the new document that you're uploading. So you're only doing the document signatures or the setup once. Once you do it for one profile, you can do it for the other 3 profiles. And then I'll select LLC and then go ahead and save. Okay. And you can edit them. Okay. Lastly, you can edit your bank account information. Here is a sample bank account, right? All right. So now you can take this link and I will just go here. And this is the single link that you send to your investors, right? Your investors see a very, very clean portal, right? That has the cash and cash return, the $50,000 investment, some key metrics, about page, the location. You have 2 assets, some documents. It's mobile responsive. So it also looks great on mobile, right? Now, if they are interested in investing, they click on invest now. Okay. Here, they'll just need to create a profile. And in this case, I will create, say, a LLC investment. So Perry Zhang, sample LLC, add profile. select the sponsors that I know. We support co-sponsors. Next, put in my $75,000 investment. Next, I'm ready to sign. Go ahead, sign here. My wire instructions, I'm going to wire my money end of the week. Click submit. Now they are submit. They can see that once they invested, well, I did a bunch of demos. So this is showing a big number here. This is a property information, my ownership section, documents, transactions, activities, and you can see this cash flow history, right? Our software is the only one that allows you to switch back to syndicating. Like in Airbnb, you can switch between hosting and traveling. Other softwares want you to create a different email for investing. Well, I think that's too much. So if you click on back to syndicating, you go back. Now you are back into the syndicator view, the sponsor view. I saw that this Perry Zane sample investment just made a $75,000 investment as October 19. And one of the two people have signed. Now, as a sponsor, your only job is to click on this thing called sign now, which allow you to countersign as a sponsor, right? That allows you to countersign as a sponsor and agree. Now the document has been countersigned. The status is changed to countersign. When you're ready to wire send the wire instructions, you click on this button called send wire instructions, and the status now is changed to wire instructions sent. Okay. When the wire is received, you click on this button and the email about the wire receive has been sent. Okay. Finally, we are the only software that actually does this. And it's incredible how people don't do it. If you want to create an addendum, like how many times your investor actually messed up their document and you need to create an addendum, we have a super easy way to create an addendum. You just create an addendum here. And I will say, investor, I'm sorry, I misspelled your name. I'm gonna put in here, and then I'm gonna ask for your initials here. Okay, go ahead and continue. Now the addendum has been created, and I will go ahead and send the addendum. Okay, right here. Click on this button called Send Sign Email. Go ahead and send. Now let me check my email. I should have received many emails at this point. As you can see, I got an email that I got an email that someone has invested in my deal. I got an email saying that congratulations for investing. You can view your wire instructions here. I got an email that your wire has been successful. And finally, I got an email that there is an addendum and I can go ahead and sign that addendum. Right, so go ahead and I'll click on it. I'll sign that addendum. And I'll say, okay, yeah, oops, I messed up. And then I'll go ahead and sign that. This is my initial, that's why it's PC. Go ahead and save, agreed. And now the addendums have been signed. All right, so now go back here. Great. So let me go over some questions first, and then I'll open up for more questions. By the way, are people following what I was doing?
Yeah, and I just want to recap before you kind of go into this, Perry, because when you are syndicating and you're putting this together, putting together a deal. It's a $10 million deal, $15 million deal, whatever it is. You're going to raise $4 million, $5 million, something like that, right? And you're going to raise it in $50,000 bunches from your friends and family or people things like that. You got to think, to get to $4 million at $50,000 a slice, you're adding 50 people, or I don't know how many people. You're adding a lot of people, right? So there's 50 investors in this deal, right? Maybe, and if you're having an $8 million, well, now you've gotten 100 investors in this deal, and everybody is getting documents sent to them. Here's a PPM, here's this, so sign this, Here's the wiring instructions. Where's that? What about this? If you have 100 people all emailing you different things like that, your email box is going to get blasted and you're going to be there all day, right? So this whole thing, what Perry's kind of showing you is when you're getting to this level, be like, hey, you're raising, you have a property that you're raising capital for, and you're managing anywhere from 10 to 100. I don't know what the maximum is for Perry, but 10 or 20 people, and you get this level where you have that many investors, you're going to probably want to start to manage this some way that's other than a spreadsheet, other than your email, and just bouncing back and forth between emails, because you're going to get kind of lost in this. So this is the types of things that Perry's has a solution for, and he's showing you like different things. Sometimes if you're not aware of the other ones that are out there, you may not know what are all the features and everything, but I think for many people, I mean, I've raised capital for deals too. And when you start to raise capital, like your investor relations become something that comes up very often. Like every month they're going, hey, what happened? Why isn't this going? What about this? Are we going to do this? Are we going to are we going to go for some, environmentally friendly water saving conservation project? Are we going to fix the basketball court, or what's going on with delinquency? All these questions that happen, so you got to have a way to manage a lot of this. So just wanted to illustrate that for people a little bit.
Yeah. So there are lots of, thank you, Paul. That's a really good context there. To answer some of these questions, do we pay to investors as well? Absolutely. We have this distributions tab, and you can easily add a distribution. Now, I want to be super clear. There is the functionality called ACH, where you can distribute directly from the portal. That feature is coming up in a month. It's not live yet, okay? But everything else is there. Now, my counter argument against that is if you are closing a deal right now, you probably wouldn't do a distribution for at least 3 to 6 months. So I think it should be okay, But we're actively working on it. In fact, our version will be better than competitors. The competitor version is you do 2 micro deposits into your bank, and then that's how you verify your bank. Our version is that we use Plaid to directly authenticate with your bank, and you can start distributing money from 10 minutes later. Okay. Yeah. So you can do ACH as well as wires. Yeah, exactly. Now, the other question is, how are we different from the other softwares out there? For people who are already using it, we are definitely the newest dog in town. We are the newest new kid on the block. It might be a combination of my background as a software engineer manager, as well as engineer, that I just have a different level of technical, I used to work in Silicon Valley, and I just feel like the current softwares are not the most intuitive, and they don't really think like a syndicator. They're a little bit more cumbersome. They are a little bit inflexible in their pricing. And also that is just, it's hard to get support because they are, getting pretty big or not. So as you can see from our UI, we really, really put the focus on ease of use, intuitive, modern, and making it a great experience for your investors. To give you an example, there are a couple of our customers that lost investors with other software because they just gave up. It's like, I couldn't figure this out, and I forget about it. And then they have another deal, they end up using us as a software, and those 2 investors easily went in and just finished all the subscription documents. That shows you the difference in user interface, right? Yeah. So how many active GPs are using our software right now? We are growing, so we are the newest kid in the block. We have about 50 customers right now, so not a lot, but we started only a year and a half ago. So there's that, okay? And it's really been picking up in the last year and a half, last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm here to giving you a demo. Yes. So if do I have a recording? So you can go to not YouTube. Oops. Go to cashflowpro.com. This is our website. It's free to sign up. Once you sign up, we don't charge you because I really, really believe in you getting value before I receive money, right? MailChimp allows you to sign up for free. HubSpot allows you to sign up for free. That's my mindset as well. Sign up for free. If you don't close on the deal, then we shouldn't be charging you. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, these are all the equity raising folks. This is the demo. So you can click on that and then watch the YouTube video, right? These are all the passive investors that invest in the deal by the sponsors. And now I did a $6.7 million raise using my own software. And that was finished in about 48 hours without any glitch. Yeah. And then, okay, so moving on to another question, which is what is the pricing model, right? So if you click on pricing, it is $199 per month if you have one property. And if you have two properties, it's $299 per month. And then if you have three properties, it's $399 per month. But if you know Powell, if you know Powell, just let us know. Pricing will never be the issue that you don't use us. We are almost for sure more affordable than everyone else. Yeah. Okay. Last thing I want to mention now that I want to go back to here, which is about co-sponsors, right? Okay. Before I go to that slide, any other questions? How is this helpful?
Very helpful.
I know it is for me, for sure.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll tell you.
Perry, let me ask you a quick question. Just say I have $5 million under management.
Yeah.
Do you charge that fee plus a management fee of how much money I have?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
Definitely the best pricing that I've seen out of all these companies. So good for you, man.
pricing is not the issue here. Yeah. I'm almost guaranteed that. Yeah. Yeah. So no, we are definitely, because we are a new kid, we try to win your business. And so you're only almost early adopter. But I think the level of sophistication still needs to be there. And I'm confident that our software is sophisticated, as in many folks in many mentorship programs are already using us and they highly recommend us. So, okay. All right. And it's a free for the investor looking for investment opportunity. It is free if you are the sponsor that's inviting investors in. So it is free for the investors. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Perry, several deals I'm using are using this. Yeah. The overview is very helpful as an LP. Awesome. Thank you, Charles. All right. Let's talk about co-sponsors. That's a difficult question. So what do you do if the co-sponsors are different, using different softwares, right? So you are a co-sponsor. You're working with different lead sponsors. One sponsor, lead sponsor A, is using software A, right? The other sponsor is using software B, right? You don't really want to fragment your investors, right? You don't be like, on deal one, you will just go to use this software, and the next deal, you're going to use another software. It is important for you to decide upfront what is the software you will use for your investors in the long run. It's the same idea that you don't use MailChimp because your lead sponsor uses MailChimp, and then you switch to HubSpot when your other lead sponsors using HubSpot. You decide on your own software, right? That has the benefit that syndicator A using software X can never poach your investors because you are technically on different platforms, right? One question I often get asked is, well, in that case, how do you do distributions? Do you go from the same bank, or how does it work? It's very easy. You have your own software, you're raising money, say $1.5 million from your investors, you use Cashflow Portal. Your lead sponsor can be using whatever, doesn't matter which software. And you will tell them, hey, I'm going to raise 1.5, and today I have raised 500K. So you can create an entry for me of how much Perry can raise, and it's 500K today. So you tell the lead sponsor, they can keep track of the total in their software, and then you just do your own thing. Once you raise the 1.5, you can tell the lead sponsor to update that entry to 1.5. When the investors wire in the money, they will wire into the centralized bank account. So it's still using one operating account. Okay, so the money still go into the same operating account. So the lead sponsor have access to that. You also have access to that. When you are distributing money, the lead sponsor will distribute to only the investors that he knows or she knows. And you are distributing money from the same bank account to the investors that you know, right? So that way it's complete separation of concern. The business goes on as usual. It's almost like a fund of funds, but that you have complete separation. I hope that makes sense, because the world is changing. And I believe that at some point, people are going to run into conflicts of they start with software X, and then the next leasing data comes in using software Y, and they don't know how to reconcile the two. So instead of following, make a decision upfront on what you are going to use. Does that make sense?
I would say that's an interesting point there, Perry, because I've never heard anybody talk really about that, and the co-sponsor part. So that's a really interesting part for, I think, a lot of people who maybe haven't even thought about that, but you're providing a solution that, it hasn't been out there that I've heard of. So, great.
I would have never guessed to think about that, but it seems like a common problem, right, pal?
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about your investors, right? I mean, that's big thing is you're trying to protect your investor list, right? And Perry is helping you do that. And not many, a lot of times when you're working with somebody else, you have to give up your whole list to them because they already know who's investing, right? And so you have to have that relationship with that other team that you're like, hey, understand these are my investors that I'm bringing to your table. I don't want you to just bombard them with all your other deals that I'm not in. That's not a good relationship to have. Right. And so Perry is providing an actual mechanism to prevent that. Whereas instead of just relying on a trust and, you obviously want to trust people, but, mistakes can happen regardless if you trust people. So
let me give you another analogy. So it has happened before that if you are a co-sponsor on a platform, the lead sponsor by definition has full authority on looking at your investors' data, right? Almost by definition. So when they have a deal, it's very possible that your investors get notified. And when you have a deal, because you are a co-sponsor, you're not the person paying. So your investors don't get notified. So it's just like a double whammy. Now, whether the bug has been fixed, that's a different question, but it's possible that this could happen, right? So the only way to protect yourself is just like, I have my own account, so nobody can mess with me.
Good point.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. All right. And then, okay, the last one I want to say is this one, some parting thoughts. So real estate syndication is a very new development. It was 506B was only passed as part of the Jobs Act in 2012, and it wasn't recognized by SEC until 2014. So there are a lot of softwares out there. I will argue that you can try a couple one of them because you don't know who will be the ultimate winners. And ours, you can sign up for free. You can use it. You don't get charged until you have a deal, and it's a relationship business, right? You can start, create an offering, and you can stop creating the offering and then come back to where you left off. It takes less than 5 minutes to create an offering. When choosing the software, focus on acceleration, then velocity, and finally feature parity. Compared to the softwares out there, we might have the least amount of features, but we are constantly building. But I do know the things that we do have, we have amazing user experience. Okay. Next point is the cost of switch is actually not that high. It's actually more of a reflection of the company than the actual switching costs. Okay. So if you're already using another software, there are two solutions. One is if you have a new deal, try using us instead of continuing that existing solution of hedging, right, against different softwares. If you really, really want to switch, we have a 15-minute call. You can give us the login credentials to the other software, and I guarantee you 24 hours later, everything is moved over. We have a proprietary way of migrating all the data out and then putting it on our platform. So sometimes people tell me, I spent 70 hours setting up on this platform. I do not want to spend another 70 hours. No, you don't. My team will take care of it, for all of it for you, free of charge. And then finally, when talking, I am happy to put on my syndicator hat on. For example, if you just raise money using software A, I would not recommend you switch, because that will look kind of bad to your investors that you just raised money and you're changing the software already, right? So you may need to like let that one go and then maybe focus on the next one, right? So there's that. Okay. Our company revenue users is growing 80% month over month. So we are doing really well right now. One question there is, can you send update monthly or quarterly during, say, the construction process? Yeah, so I'll show you a quick example here. We have this feature, email, and then you can just select all the investors that you know, and then you can delete them. You can select, okay, I will select all the sole investors, and you can write your email. Super easy. Your co-sponsor can write emails to their investors only as well. Okay, so we do have that feature. And then finally, can investor and their CPA sign a letter verify accredited investor on the platform? Great question. Accreditation right now is done outside of the portal, because most of our customers are 506B, doing 506B. Again, this is something we are working on. So I'll just be like super honest with you. Okay. And then lastly, how the investor are prioritized when sponsor comes in your website. Maybe you can elaborate on that question. So I think if the question is asking, I have $5 million I need to raise, and I'm almost fully subscribed, what do I do? That's a good question. It's easy. So if you go to offerings, right, you can make the status as close and then no longer accepting investments, right? Sometimes they will make the investment and we decided not to take that investment, and we will just not countersign it and we'll send it back and void it. That's fine as well. All right, I'll pause there. I know that's a lot of information. I think that's good for the evening.
Yeah, great. So if you got any questions, definitely make sure. Oh, sorry, Perry, go ahead. Go with your.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, here's my contact. If you want to take a screenshot, email me if you have more questions. Someone asked me to, to network. Yes, I would love to chat. My goal is to help people, just sponsors and investors, achieve financial freedom. I've achieved it, and now I'm doing this because I want to help more folks. So yes, here's my contact. Go ahead.
And
Awesome.
something real quick in regards to these portals. This is something you don't realize you need until it's too late almost. This is something I should have set up, I don't know, a long time ago. I legitimately just signed up on his on his website 3 minutes ago. I'm switching over from another company that is a lot more clunky, or whatever word you want to use, just not nearly as many benefits and ease of use. So I appreciate that, Perry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Perry, one question that I had, and anybody else, you can write any more questions that you have, we'll ask them to Perry here right now. The one question that I had that you went over in the very beginning, say you're going to send somebody the link of your, you created an investment, you put up all the details, you put in pictures, you have and you want to send people the link. Do they have to register on your website to see that link, or is it like open?
It's open. You can set the permission what you want. I set it to open. So to give you an example, let me take this link. So this link, and let me log out, right? So what happens here is you will just see this without login. And then when you want to invest, you can create an account. And once you create an account, it automatically takes you to the investment funnel.
Right.
And awesome. Yeah, I thought through all of that parts. Yes.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing is we are a little bit different, and this might be, take it or leave it, is if you have one account, it's the only account you have that will invest in all deals. Okay, so that means you don't have to go to sponsor A's website to invest, sponsor B's website to invest, and so on and so forth. Now, the sponsor do get the recognition that this is, their logo is on it, whatnot. But what we are trying to create is almost like the Airbnb of real estate investing. By definition, it's on cash flow portal. It has that kind of legitimacy that this is for real. And yeah, in the future, we will bring in fresh blood investors from Silicon Valley and whatnot. And our goal is to help sponsors never worry about raising money again, because you have these amazing biographies, and then you can send this to anyone you know, and then they can just connect with you. So it's also a way to increase your investor network. The last thing I want to mention here, is if you go to cashflowportal.com, you can learn more about how this connect with syndicators work. Okay, specifically, this is very important. It's a one-way discovery. So passive investor can find sponsors through our platform, but not the other way around, which means the sponsors can never poach other sponsors' passive investors. So this allows the passive investors to spot the best sponsors and connect with them in just one click.
Yeah. That's awesome, Perry. I know that you've grown since, like, the first time that we connected was, I don't know, it's probably like a year and a half ago or so. And yeah, your platform and everything has grown a lot since then. And that's great to see. It's awesome.
Yeah. I know CV, you just asked a question about, can I invest in cash flow portal? Would you accept investments? It is a 506B, but it's funny that we're speaking on this. I feel fine saying that. I'm actually having a webinar tomorrow for the equity raising for the business. And we are $4 million self-committed on a $1.5 million raise. So we're gonna be like way oversubscribed at this point. So yeah, but if you're interested in the business, if you're interested in just knowing more, being our customer, just send me an email and we can chat more. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that might be a combination that I am a pretty good sponsor. My real estate deals are doing well. So that helps. Yeah. And I came from technology, so I know how to create good software. Yeah.
Perfect, Perry. Much appreciated, my friend.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate that. And thanks for the engaging audience here.
Absolutely. Pal, do you want to go ahead and we can launch out into breakout sessions since we answered most of the questions, and then get back in about 5-10 minutes, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and launch into the breakout room? Let's